Thank you for joining with me. We are in Ken Wapnick's journey through the text of A Course in Miracles. This is chapter 3, The Innocent Perception, and today we are picking up on his subtitle, Christianity. This chapter begins with the section, Atonement Without Sacrifice, one of the 3 places in A Course in Miracles where Jesus specifically discusses Christianity. The other 2 are the beginning of chapter 6, which deals with the crucifixion, and the unhealed healer in chapter 9, which discusses 2 forms of the unhealed healer, the theologian and the psychotherapist, both of whom commit the sin of making the error real as they depreciate the power of the decision-making mind. In Atonement Without Sacrifice, Jesus describes how the ego thought system denigrates the mind's power by bringing God into the picture. One of the specific burdens of this section is to show how the ego makes sin real. In one sense, the Course would agree with the Judeo-Christian idea that original sin is the beginning of the problem. However, whereas the Bible sees sin as real, necessitating God's response, A Course in Miracles understands sin as something we only think happened, which made it real to us with disastrous consequences. Yet these consequences had no effect on God, even though we have tried to bring God into the insanity of the ego's thought system of sin. What is more, the Course teaches that God does not even know about the ego, sin, or any other aspect of the illusion. God simply is, and if He were to know about the sin of separation and then do something about it, He would of course be making it real. This, from the Course's perspective, would make God the original sinner. In this first section of chapter 3, Jesus specifically addresses what traditional Christianity has done with Him and the crucifixion. The Bible tells us we should feel guilty because we did something very wrong, and God will punish us as expressed in the Adam and Eve myth in Genesis. God tells the 2 sinners they indeed do something terrible, and something terrible will happen to them in return, the ultimate punishment being death. When one looks at this myth from the point of view of A Course in Miracles, one clearly sees the ego dynamics at work, as depicted in the chart's wrong-minded box. I'll show the chart at the end of this. An important word in this and other chapters is sacrifice, another way of talking about one or the other, the ego's vicious principle, wherein one is sacrificed for the betterment of another. The true God has never left heaven, so He knows nothing of this. Yet the ego God very much believes in one or the other, thinking he has been sinned against and has suffered at the triumphant hands of the ego or separated son. In this insanity, the ego has stolen heaven's life, which it then invested in itself. God is dead and the ego very much alive. The Creator has been sacrificed so that the separated self can exist, one or the other. The ego, as part of its strategy to make us fearful and voluntarily leave the mind, takes this insanity one step further by telling us that God believes the same thing. God has been made in the image and likeness of the ego and warns the Son, all-powerful deity that He is. He will come after His sinning child to steal back the life that was stolen from him, one or the other. As a result, the Son will have to be sacrificed to appease God's wrath, and the ego counsels us to flee by going into the world. However, the ego does not tell us that ideas leave not their source. that the idea of separation can never leave its source in the mind to make a world. As we have already seen, the world of separation in the chart is identical to the wrong-minded ego box. By following the ego, we thought we would be saved from God and certain death. Yet in truth, we find ourselves in this world as mortal beings. The only difference now, a crucial one to be sure, is that we are no longer in the mind. The ego does not care if we are destroyed, for its thought system is safe. And I'm going to go ahead and pause there, and we will pick this up tomorrow. And here is the graph, the appendix. The wrong-minded ego box is right here. Heaven, knowledge. Okay, and I will take a picture and put this at the end of each video. And sometimes I'll read over it if Ken's referencing it a lot. And I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining with me. Have a beautiful day. I love you. Bye-bye.